And please do know that we're right in Doha, Qatar. We'll bring you the latest coming from the camp of the Black Star. You should know by now that just in the next few minutes, we have to join the sports department and have that friendly. But the pre-match discussions, Ghana, there's the Black Stars against their Swiss counterparts. And we'll see how it goes as far as those preparations are related for the Black Stars. But now, we have a conversation that we need to engage in, and it's about preterm babies because, well, World Prematurity Day is always marked, apparently, but we need to bring the conversation to you. So I have some great friends who are with charities that are working, and we have Child Ghana. So just to make sure that you hear their names from their own words, what's your name?
Sheila Santa Potoi.
Yeah, Sheila.
Yeah.
Jejom Joan Ajre.
Yeah, Jejom. And then you? And you work with?
Range Hospital.
Great. Now, as far as this is related, let me first get to you before we come to the project people. How is this a big issue? Preterm babies. And then what do we mean by that?
Okay, it's a very big issue. So if you say a preterm baby or a prematurity, yes, a baby delivered earlier than the time normally people say, because people will say maybe probably 9 months, you say a term baby. But we say a baby delivered before 37 completed weeks.
Okay.
So even if you deliver at 36 weeks, 6 days, you still have a premature delivery.
Right.
Yeah. So any delivery lesser than 37 weeks is premature delivery.
No. So that's a gestation period?
Yes.
All right. In our home conversations, we say that we say 9 months.
Yeah.
So the weeks tend to confuse many of our mothers, etc. But how is that a reason why we need to have a whole awareness intervention on it as Child Ghana?
So premature birth is the leading cause of all deaths in children under 5 years of age. It is. And for children that are born in our country, for those who die, 50% of all those deaths is due to premature births. So this is a big problem. If you're interested in reducing death in children under 5 years, then we should be addressing preterm birth issues.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. And you have been brought here, Jejom, because you have an experience.
Yes, please.
Tell us, and how long did you give birth?
I gave birth, my baby was 28 weeks before I gave birth to her. And it all started, I visited the hospital, and the liquor started pouring, just for an antenatal.
What started pouring?
The liquor, or the water. It broke, so it started pouring. Then labor begins. So I was admitted for the labor to be terminated a little, because it was just too young to come out. So we stayed in the hospital for about 2 weeks. I was discharged, I reached home, and it started again. So I have to go back to the hospital. Then there was nothing they can do. I just have to give birth. So I delivered a baby, 28 weeks, with birth weight of 1.2 kg. So baby was placed at NICU.
That's the neonatal intensive care unit.
Yes, at NICU. And she was being taken care of. We stayed there for some weeks, and we were discharged to continue taking care of her in the house.
I see. Now, Paulina, for you at one of the biggest hospitals in Ghana, I have to say second in a class, if I'm not discriminating, because you're a midwife and you tend to see the cases, what causes some of these things? And then how are they able to survive based on the cases that you see on the regular? So let me
start with the survival rate. We have survival rate of about 80 to 85%, but it depends. That 15 to 20% chance of survival depends. It has a whole lot of factors.
Okay.
The mother has to be part of it. The caregivers, because it's not always that they go to a tertiary facility to seek for care. They start from the peripheral facilities. So the staff, the health staff, they also have a role to play. If you find out, we have something called high-risk pregnancies. So if a mother like this losing liquor is a high-risk pregnancy, everything is possible. So if you cannot manage it in your facility, you just have to refer to a tertiary facility. So the survival rate depends on all those kinds. And then the other question was
whether the causative factors or
yes. So we are saying that ideally, as in Ghana or it's in our part of the world that we usually get pregnant before, because ideally, if you want to get pregnant, you should prepare. So you should prepare physiologically. Your body needs to prepare your body physiologically. You need to get treatment. If you know you have any underlying health conditions like any diabetes, hypertension, you should get it under control. When you get pregnant, even if you didn't have all these conditions, pregnancy puts a whole lot of stress on the body too.
Seriously?
Yes. So we have something called pregnancy-induced hypertension. The hypertension wasn't there, but it's pregnancy that brought it. We have diabetes. Also, you can also get gestational diabetes. It wasn't there, but you got it through pregnancy. So if you have all those things, you need to get them under control. These two are actually the leading factors in causing premature delivery, because hypertension like this, there's something called preeclampsia and eclampsia. You have to terminate. This baby has to come out if you want to save both the mother and the baby. Yeah. So we have sepsis, even ordinary malaria can cause premature delivery. So there's a whole lot of factors.
Now, at Child Ghana, how widespread is the issue in the country? And then how are they more problematic once you get out of urban centers?
Yeah, so the national prevalence, more than 1 in 10 babies is born premature.
In Ghana?
Yes.
Wow.
Even the figures are higher. So what I'm quoting for you is the global prevalence. But the data shows that the highest burden is in Africa. So we don't have national data as in national, but I'm quoting pockets of research that have been done in some facilities. So we take the average, more than 1 baby is, out of 10 is born premature. So we are talking about a large number of babies. And out of this, the data shows that for those that are born less than 32 weeks, that's 7 months, about 50% of them die. And those that are born 28 weeks, like her baby or less, about 90% of them die. So this is a big problem, right? And most of the facilities we have are in the urban centers, and these are the ones that have ability to provide some form of care. But when you go into the rural setting, most of those facilities don't have anything at all to cater for
in terms of the NICU.
The NICU, the neonatal intensive care. So most of these babies have to be bundled up and transferred to the tertiary institution. So the transit time is another thing. Moving from that rural area to the urban area, if care is not taken, the baby gets there too late, and there isn't much that can be done for the baby.
Do they get disabilities sometimes?
Yeah, so for those that survive, survive, you have learning delays, disabilities, you have hearing problems, vision problems, and general developmental delay. So you have all
as a result of the
complications of when these things are not properly managed. So it's got lifelong effects.
So there's no problem if they get swift treatment, right?
Yes, so but in everything there are some form of complications, and it depends on the gestational age. We have extreme preterm that you had 28 weeks, like 26. In Ghana, the viability gestational age is 24 weeks. So 25, 26, you know that they are extreme. Those babies like this, the kind of care is aggressive kind of, because we'll be given, in case of oxygen like this, they will be on oxygen for a long time, and in such situations, they can end up with something called retinopathy of the premature baby. They can be blind if their oxygen that you are given is not controlled. So in range like this, we give blended oxygens to reduce all those kind of complications. And then they have, in their growing up, they need a lot of therapies because they weren't really matured. So they have something called PDA2 is one of their complications. Patent that it's with the heart. Because ideally, if the body is ready, if the baby is ready to come out, the heart has a whole lot of chambers. It closes on itself. But if it comes out prematurely, all those holes are left, and you have something called PDA, so a whole lot of complications.
Okay, John, is stigma attached? Did you experience stigma?
Yes,
all of that?
a lot. A typical example is one day I visited the hospital, and I sat down
with your baby,
with my baby, removing the cloth for the baby to be weighed, and a lady sat beside me. She looked at the baby and she shouted, "Oh!"
Why? Just because the baby is small.
Very, very small.
Oh, okay.
Very tiny. So she shouted, "Hey, what is this? What type of baby is this? Hey, like a mouse. Look, this baby." Then she was shouting, but I did not even say anything.
But your baby
so
is fine now.
Up. Yes. Baby is fine. She stood up and left, so we were left there, and we did our own thing, and we also left.
All right.
And somebody also called me and told me, hey, if it is 28 weeks, the baby cannot make it, so you just leave the hospital and forget about the baby. I said, no.
And the person was from your family or the home? Or?
Just a family.
Okay.
Then I told her, you are not our God.
Yes, it's true.
My baby will make it.
I know, right? Ghanaian women. Our God is supreme.
Yes.
And then, but we have to wrap up this conversation. Yeah. Sorry, football also takes a lot of it, but health is also important. So as we wrap up, as we mark this day, do we have perhaps a sensitization interventions we're undertaking just to draw home or perhaps bring home the conversation? Sure.
Yes, so we have a lot of sensitization going on, trying to educate people about what prematurity is, the causes, so women can those who want to have babies can prepare and eliminate some of those causes if they can. We're also trying to let the public know some of the things that the facilities need to be able to manage these babies, so that if corporate bodies or other stakeholders are interested, they can visit all these facilities and try to provide some of the basic things that are needed, so they can better take care of the babies. So these are some of the things we are doing. We have a whole range of programs we are carrying out.
And you're doing this with?
Child Rights International Ghana.
Great. That's Bright Up Here's organization.
Yeah.
That's
so
nice.
They are funding all the activities.
Oh, great one. Bright Up Here. Thank you very much for doing this for all of us, because we need to have this conversation brought home to us. And we've had some great insight into all this, and I think that we need to collaborate as a news department, Radio Media General, so that we tend to have some experiences like the way J. John Mojuan has it. Sheila Santa Kotoe is with Child Ghana. Thank you for joining us as well, and also mother of a preterm baby. J. John Ajoe or Ajoy.
Adri.
Okay, and her first name really is Juan, and then also Paulina Ado Edubuating is a senior midwife or a midwife at Reach right here in Accra. Thank you for joining us, all of you.
Thank you for having us.